Bonjour and welcome to all you comic book geeks, readers and collectors. And it's the best day of the week, isn't it? New comic book day. And from all of what's on offer, I am going to show you my top 10. 5 of which I'm going to do a deep dive after the scroll. Spoiler alert. Up until then, I'm just going to talk about my top 10 comics. No real whinge of the week. I'm sure there'll be a couple of whinges along the way. But do you know what? No major whinge of the week. But I will say one thing about what I consider to be the best hobby in the world. And that's comic books. Comic book reading, collecting, whatever it is. And I'll tell you why. I've got DC, Dark Horse, Marvel, Boom, AWA and Titan in my top 10. Now, from my point of view, it does not get better than that. Any followers of my channel, you know I'm a big Marvel fan. And that's because of my ancestral comic book collecting roots, because I grew up with, you either go. There was two sides of the street in New York, wasn't there, back in the day, and it was DC or Marvel, and some grew up DC, some grew up Marvel. Anyway, but I'll tell you what, the modern comic book world at the moment, this was a big week, and I've got to say, I've got a beautifully diverse top 10. And then what we are going to do at the end of the video, if you are prepared to stay with me that long, I'll chapterize it so you can skip ahead. But please don't, just listen to me waffle on about my best comics. We are going to do cover of the week, where we imagine we only had pocket money for one book. One. So we go to the spinner rack or the shelf at the drugstore or newsagent, depending on your side of the Atlantic. And, we can only buy one book, but it's the covers that are sucking us in like a tractor beam. That's a little bit of fun at the end of the video. So, without further ado, I'm going to offer you up my top 10. And like I say, we're going to do a deep dive on the top 5 of my book of the week, cover of the week. Let's get on with it. It's a staple, I know. All of you regulars, roll your eyes. Go on, okay. World's Finest is out, so because it deserves it. It really does deserve it. And these are the 5 that are going to be in my deep dive. So if you don't like it, then get out of town. It's not the most inspiring cover, I must say. Let's just do the 3 heads, but come on, if you're going to sell a comic. Yeah. Up from DC. Tom King continues to... I think he continues to split opinion. And I don't know whether this issue was a breath of fresh air or a feeling. But it's Tony Daniel artwork, it's Tom King on the storyline, so you aren't going to get much better. You aren't going to get much better than that, weaving a Wonder Woman tale at the moment. And weaving a superhero vampire tale is Mark Millar. And obviously the second volume of Nightclub, and I always want to sing the Specials song Nightclub from their first album, probably 77, 78, but I digress. Juanan Ramirez on the artwork. Yeah, he's over. Millar is over on Dark Horse now. This was a solid return to the usual shenanigans. Usual shenanigans isn't 2 words I can use for this book right here. it really, if I'm honest, this would be my book of the week. Every week it's out, like every month it turns up. This should be my book of the week, but I'm not going to do it because I can't tell you what's going on. I can't, and I love it for that. We are just on the edge. We are on the edge of following the stories, following the story and the characters. But it's issue 2, and I've got to admit, I still, maybe I've got to stop going down the pub before I read my comics, but we still haven't got a clue what's going on in the Paranoid Gardens. But I love and Phil Weston, that's the best art I've seen him do. And this Glenn Fabry cover, by the way, I've got to admit, I didn't realise until this week when I got this book and I picked this is cover B, Glenn Fabry, how similar that their sequential art, their comic book storytelling artwork, Phil Weston and Glenn Fabry, and I don't know what the last thing Fabry did, but I realised how similar they are in style, which is gorgeous. It's spot on style. So that is it's an absolute insane delight. That comic book right there. Book of the week. After all of that, after all of the aforementioned, look at what my book of the week is. Come on, Hickman and Capullo. They nail it. Enough said. That's my book of the week. And if you want to join me after the scroll, not yet. I've got four. I've got 5 other comics to waffle about. But if you want to join me after the scroll, enough said. They nail it. What, Wolverine and dinosaurs on the cover? Oh, that's not why I love it. So anyway, that's my top 5 for the week, guys. And there's 5 more books here that are really worthy of a mention, but I can't do a deep dive, otherwise my videos would go on and you wouldn't want to watch them. Even this issue 2, Corsair from the Starjammers and Phoenix, I'm really enjoying this. I know it's X-Men. What I would say about this comic is it's X-Men adjacent. This is a cosmic Odyssey story. They've sent Phoenix out to the stars. And I know I mentioned this last month with issue 1. And that's why I'm enjoying it. I think because they're not doing the usual shtick. She's still in touch telepathically, because obviously she's awesome, across the universe with Scott. But obviously Scott's dad turns up. And mystery abounds. So, yeah, Phoenix, all I will say is the only X-Men latest releases so far that I didn't enjoy, for any of you that are just jumping on now, is MYX. I just thought that was stupid and a waste of time. Other than that, all those other books, they've all got, and whoever it is that's overseeing those X-Men books at that relaunch, he or she, and I don't know who it is, has realised they've all got a lane. They've all got a different vibe. The X Factor, X Force. And I tell you what, I have been really enjoying it. I really have. Briar, if you want your fantasy, is it Brian Campbell? It is Brian Campbell. Christopher Campbell. Sorry, Christopher. Christopher Campbell's ongoing saga is really picking up the pace. So we're only 2 issues in now into the new storyline. But it's picking up and it's a delight. And what's the artist? Sorry, you know what I'm like. Alex on the artwork. Beautiful. Yeah, a real nice book. What I will say is that it's probably one of those books that's better in collected editions, because there are certain comics that, listen, I'm a geeky old hog, so I'm just going to buy floppies all day long. Every now and again, I'm going to get a graphic novel or trade paperback or omnibus. But other than that, I'm here for the floppies. I'm here for the weeklies. So kill me now if you think I deserve, if you think I should be punished. Doug Braithwaite. This Conan, obviously, it is Jim Zub, isn't it? He says. I'm sure it's Jim Zub. Sorry. Anyway, it's been the same writer, but it's been Della Torre and Braithwaite on the art. I've followed Braithwaite's art for a long while, because I'm a geeky old hog. This is his best work by far. I know I keep pointing at a J. Lee cover, but what I mean is the interior sequential artwork by Doug Braithwaite. This is the best he's ever done, and this comic remains. It's one of those that every time it comes out, I want to put in my top 5 for the deep dive, but I can't keep boring. I can't keep boring you, my glorious audience. And you know I love you. And this is another one that the penultimate. Yeah, I'm sure it's the penultimate. This was the penultimate issue. Oh, yeah. The penultimate issue to this. This has been a delightfully dark, delicious journey. Yeah, Crocodile Back. Philip Kennedy Johnson, I've got a lot of time for that. The artwork, I've never seen the guy or girl Som, illustrated by Som. That's the only clue we get. So I don't know if that's a guy, girl, whatever. Spot on. Again, Crocodile Black. It will be 5 issues translated into a graphic novel trade paperback. That will be absolutely superb. And so will this. AWA, as always, deliver something a little bit left field, a little bit. I know Boom are doing it. I know Image are doing it in Dark Horse, but we can't deny that these independents now, they're letting people romp free with their storylines. And this Red Light has been, and it's only 4 issues. So what I like about AWA is they don't just set a standard 6 or 8 issues and then trade paperback. Those nice slim 4 issue trade paperbacks. There's a lot to be said for that. And Red Light, it's not what. Well, I'll tell you what, it is what you expect. It is what you expect set in the future with androids and I don't know, how do I say it without the algorithm picking me up. Love androids. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, it's a nice read. I think I did do a deep dive on one of the earlier issues. If I didn't, I don't. That isn't the first time I've mentioned that. So a solid guarantee. So if you aren't scared, if you're not frightened of spoilers of comics you may have read or may not have read, and well, no, it's going to be. I don't know why I said that. If you're not afraid of spoilers on the comics you haven't read, join me. And they won't be mega, because I don't go all the way to the end. We don't go there. Come on. join me after the scroll for my deep dive on the top 5 and the cover of the week. And if you don't agree with me, you let me know in the comments and we will go from there. Okay guys, first up, World's Finest. Still Mark Waid on the writing duties, which is obviously awesome, but we've got a new artist. So and he's got to follow in in Mora's shoes. How does he get on? Well, I think he gets on very, very well. This story it's just a kind of beginning, middle, end. It's kind of like a self-contained story. Batman, Robin and Superman go into Themyscira to solve a mystery. And it is, like I've said so many times before about Mark Waid, he makes this stuff look easy. He makes it, you know, a shapeshifter, a monster. What is it? What is the mystery? But I've got to say that the artwork by Melnikov, is it? Yeah, Melnikov is a worthy successor to Dan Mora. I will say that. I think he nails Wonder Woman. You know, you've got Semper, you've got Daniel Semper, and you've got Dan Mora on art on DC at the moment, and they do literally. You know, that's the beginning, middle and end. But this artwork, just take a look at this. I was very, very impressed. When I didn't see Dan Mora's name on the cover, it did give me a little bit of the but I was pleasantly surprised by this. This is great stuff. It's really nice stuff. So, as always, I know you might be rolling your eyes, all my regulars, so sorry, another month and I think, you know, I don't think I've been recommending it for 30 months, but for a lot of those months, I've been recommending World's Finest. And adjacent to that, obviously, a wonderful Daniel Semper cover to Wonder Woman, Tom King, weaving his magic, and it's Tony Daniel on the art now. And basically this issue, I did enjoy this issue. I shouldn't have. And Tony Daniel has kind of changed his style a little bit, I've got to say, for this particular comic. And it's basically Robin, and by the way, spoiler alert, if you're here and you aren't aware yet that this is where all the spoilers are, this entire issue is just Robin and Wonder Woman interrogating Boomerang, this villain. It's part of the absolute power, whatever you call it, tie-in. And it's a to and fro between whose interrogation technique is going to work. Robin is obviously going down the Batman route. He's going down his dad's route, and Wonder Woman keeps saying, "No, love will prevail." But as the story unfolds, it's Wonder Woman who keeps getting wound up by this guy. I think it's Boomerang. Sorry if I'm getting his name wrong because I'm not the biggest DC fan, but she's the one that keeps getting wound up and keeps beating him up. Robin is the one. Here we go. Look. It's so adjacent to World's Finest. It's unbelievable. But anyway, the main thrust of this issue is these two interrogating him. And here she goes. Look, sometimes love hurts because Wonder Woman is trying to tell Robin that love is the only way to get through because she hasn't got a lasso of truth and all that. And but she's the one who ends up committing the most violence towards this guy to find out where they need to be going. So you could accuse it of being a fill-in, but I did enjoy it. It says tie-in. I would say a fill-in. But anyway, it was good. Now, Mark Millar, he doesn't miss a beat, this bloke. This bloke just doesn't miss a beat. This is volume 2 of Nightclub. Three vampire superheroes. They're basically pretending at the beginning of this, like they're YouTube sensations. They're pretending to have been shot by drug dealers and jumping out of their boot to beat them all up on camera. And then it all ensues from there. So there's not a lot more I can say about it, but other than it is a delightfully easy read. Even these little side characters, Millar does do them well. So, you know, they're talking about Spider-Man, they're talking about Teen Titans. You know, it is done very well. The art is on point. It doesn't. Maybe these books, again, this is probably another book that is going to be 5 or 6 issues and it will be better collected. But in the meanwhile, I'm loving it. A visceral treat. 3 vampire superheroes. What more do you want? You know, what more can I tell you? Now, what more can I tell you about this? I don't know. I don't know where to begin, except that this is a beautiful Glenn Fabry cover, as always. And if anyone was going to not replicate on purpose, but if anyone was going to, when Glenn Fabry back in the day was doing interior artwork as well, it wasn't until this issue I realised Chris Weston, who's doing this artwork, he really is a worthy successor to Glenn Fabry. This is beautiful stuff. Now, this is the 2nd issue, and I've got to admit, I still really haven't got a clue what's going on. There is so much stuff going on here in the paranoid gardens. Gerard Way, Sean Simon I tell you what, they're off on one here. They're off on one. This one page alone, just because she sees a butterfly in the garden, she's doing a yoga class, and I don't know why. We don't know, and they don't explain it. They don't explain it. They just get on with it. Like, oh, come on, we're back to present day now. So, you know, why is there a close-up of this statue? I don't know, because it's got nothing to do with these next 2 characters. But in the meanwhile, it is, I'm thinking, by the end of this storyline, by the end of this tale, we're going to realise what a meticulously crafted and weaved storyline this is. Look, this statue is still in, and I know I'm focusing on this on its own, as well as this, like the Sikh character, and you know the maniacal one. But look, the statue is still there. So there is so much going on beneath the surface. You know, this superhero being a bit of a look in his bunny rabbit slippers and all that. Oh, I think that's a distraction. I really do. It's a beautifully illustrated and written distraction. But nevertheless, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. And even this bit, I thought, well, now they're at a bus stop with 2 monkey mask, squarey blokes, and yeah. So this one, guys, I don't know how many issues this is going to be, but wow, these guys here have absolutely stolen the show for me. I've got to say. But having stolen the show, it's still not my book of the week. But this is what is my book of the week. And finally, beautiful cover, does what it says on the tin. Wolverine revenge. You want him out. You want him there with his claws out. But nevertheless, he's in the mouth of a dinosaur, a T-Rex. So Hickman. So you expect one of these pages, didn't you, from Hickman? And I did roll my eyes. I've got to admit, I did roll my eyes. But bear with me. Because Hickman actually, and take a breath and sit down. Hickman actually gets on with it. He actually gets on with the story. Look, we're on page 5 or 6. Look, snicked. We've got snicked, and that's more. And we've got bloodletting. This is why we are in a Wolverine comic. Look, just in those 2 pages. So finally, Hickman, I think, has climbed out of his own rear end and thought, right, I'll just weave a story. Here's Nick Fury now. Come on, here's S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I'm not going to give too many spoilers away. Here's Captain America. Here's Winter Soldier. He's forming a team. Nick Fury is forming a team to attack the Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants. End of. Love it. The lead up to that cover. It's a shame they had to do not, their dedication to Ray Chan, but the whole dealing of the whole editorial decisions that go into putting that opposite that, I think is a bit amateurish. But nevertheless, because that could have been a double page splash, to be fair, the lead up to this is 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarriers colliding. That could have been a double page splash all day long. But anyway, Capullo on art duties as always. So Hickman has calmed himself down, and look how many words there aren't on any of these pages. So thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for giving us a story. Here's Captain America snowboarding on his shield, which I really enjoyed. Even the sound effect, look, the ish, sigh. This I really did enjoy this, and Capullo, come on, he's not gonna see you. Look at this. Look at this. Everything you wanted in an issue 1 of a Wolverine comic. And that is why that's my book of the week, because sometimes, especially Hickman, can get carried away with himself, but he didn't. He gave us an action-packed tale of Wolverine with Sabretooth, Captain America, Winter Soldier, etc., involved. But is it cover of the week? It's Wolverine and a T-Rex mouth, so come on. It's going to take a lot of beating. I don't know why I'm including this. It's because I love Glenn Fabry's artwork. I'm sorry. And that's a mad, you don't know what Paranoid Gardens and a cover like this. Alien, dummy, mutant, pigeon and human and a ghost with a mop in a bucket. I mean, come on. It's got it all going on, but vampire superheroes with blood dripping out of their fangs. I don't know. It's not the biggest week on covers, to be fair, guys. Phoenix and Corsair from the Starjammers. What's going on? There's fire and there's, it's all going on. I've got to put Jay Lee's Conan cover in there because it is gorgeous. And I've also got to mention Brian Hitch. This wasn't the best issue of Redcoat, by the way, but Brian Hitch's artwork, as always. Look at this double. What you've got going on. But you wouldn't have seen all of this in the spinner rack, would you? You'd have just seen sharks, which are awesome. They are awesome. Bubbles, he's drowning. Sharks, eating him. But no, too static. Same with Redcoat. I think going to keep Phoenix there for the Flames. I think Paranoid Gardens it messes with your melon a bit too much, so we're going to exclude that. Oh, this is going to be, I don't know how controversial this is going to be, guys, because, you know, there's 3 covers here, and I don't know if there's much in it. And I don't really like going down the traditional route. I know I said about the bloodletting and the fangs and the fire, but come on. There's dinosaurs and there's Wolverine. So it's book of the week again. I know I done it last week, but it's book of the week, it's cover of the week, it's Greg Capullo. He's relaxed, he's enjoying himself, and yeah, this would be the cover that sucked me in. Dinosaurs and Wolverine. He's even got his arm up in the T-Rex's mouth. So, yeah, excellent. And thank you if you have bared with me all the way this far. I love you, my sexy subscribers. You know I do. Please let me know in the comments what you're picking up, what you didn't like, what you did enjoy, etc., etc. Argue, you know, just get back to me. You haven't got to agree with me, but I do like that. But you haven't got to. Anyway, until next week, I will bid you all adios.